everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to this installment of Sach and Steel. On this episode, I'm going to talk about basic techniques when playing the pan, and this would involve posture as well as how to roll a note and how to strike a note. So without any further delay, let's get into the video. The first thing you want to make sure when you're playing the pan is that you're at least 4 or 5 inches away from the instrument. You shouldn't be touching the instrument when you're playing the instrument, and this goes for frontline pans, which would be the tenor, double tenor and double second pan, as well as the middle and the background pans, which would be guitar pan, the cello pans, the quadraphonic pans and the basses. When you're standing behind the instrument, you need to make sure that you're evenly distributing your weight and that you're not slouching to one side because your weight is on your right side or your weight is on your left side. You need to stand firmly on the floor, and you need to make sure that you're distributing your weight evenly when you're playing the instrument. You also need to make sure that your hand is above your waist level. This is to ensure that when you're playing, you'll have some sort of speed, some sort of mobility. What would also help with this is keeping your hands close to the instrument surface. This would mean that when you're playing, you shouldn't have your hand like this to get the notes. You shouldn't be having this kind of wing motion. Your hand should be here and you should be able to reach. Only your wrist should be moving to help you to hit the notes. For the middle and the background pans, it is especially important that you keep your hands close to the playing surface. Because you have so many pans to work with, it can be difficult at times to keep up with the band, and essentially when you're switching from note to note, if the note is not in a pan next to it, or if it's not on the same pan, then you run the risk of pulling back the speed of the song and pulling back the tempo. So what you want to keep in mind when you're playing the middle and the background pans is that you should have more of a gliding motion to get to the different notes as opposed to reaching, because all of this time in the air here takes away from the tempo of the song. So it's going to be way easier if you kind of glide towards the other notes. As for the frontline pans, you need to make sure that you're also not colliding with the instrument, because it can also take away from your performance. So if you refer to one of my previous videos where I show you how to hold a pan stick, it will be really helpful for this segment now, where I will show you how to strike a note and how to roll the note. If you didn't look at the video as yet, pause, go look at that video and come right back to this point. Here now, I have a simple exercise that I use when I showed little children how to gain flexibility and mobility in their wrists. We usually call it flapping or doggy paddles, and this exercise is really effective in helping them understand their wrist movement when striking a note. Using that same concept, here is how we strike a note. Here's a demonstration of the same concept again, using only movement of the wrist. When striking a note, ensure that you move your hand as quickly as possible after hitting the note so that the note does not sound muffled. Your aim should always be to get a bright and brilliant sound. You can hear the clear difference between both. When striking a note, your main aim should be to hit the center of the note, as there you would get the best possible sound. Now, let's learn how to roll a note. A note can be rolled by striking it with the left hand and the right hand in a quick alternating order. You then hold this out for the duration of the note. If your roll sounds choppy or it sounds like the upcoming roll, you are not alternating fast enough. One great thing to consider when rolling is that you should always keep as close to the playing surface as possible, and this would help with a smooth roll. Because of the various sizes of the notes, smaller notes require a little more force when playing. Here's an example of me using the same amount of force starting with middle C all the way up to C5 and C6. Because C5 and 6 are a lot smaller, it almost sounds as though I'm decrescendoing, when in reality, I'm actually using the same amount of force that I used to play middle C. Now here's an example of me using a lot of force in order to get a sound out from C6, but then using the same amount of force on C5 and C4. In order to play all the notes at the same volume level, the smallest note should have the most force and the largest note should have the least force. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as usual, send to a couple friends. But wait 30 more seconds for this presentation.
If you have no interest in equal rights for black people, then do not make suggestions to those who do. Sit down.
Anthropologically, racism is a construct, a social construct, and it has benefits.
If you can only be tall because somebody's on their knees, then you have a serious problem.